So I've decided to not be a Black Widow today and let some actual natural light into the room. As you all know, these last few months have been an absolute shit show, which means that everything else going on in the world today has pretty much taken a back seat. When you're not sure where your next paycheck is going to come from, the petty squabbles of Twitter and YouTube almost seem trivial. But today is a new day, and I've got a lot of things going on this week, including having to have more tests done on Jax. That happens tomorrow, and since I got a call back within 45 minutes of my last interview, I'll be going up to Frisco for a face-to-face interview with the entire team and the manager for this particular IT job. Chances are very good that I will have a new job fairly soon. Yay. So with everything happening on top of keeping up with my writing for Patreon, I didn't have a lot of time to make a proper informative YouTube video that would probably end up dead on arrival for YouTube's algorithm anyways. So let's talk about some shit that's been going on in the book world, shall we? Hello everyone, and welcome to my little corner of YouTube. I'm Aaron Dusk, self-published author of The Mark of Amuli and The Varcross Key. So if you like more contemporary fantasy with a paranormal romance vibe, go for The Mark of Amuli. And if you like portal fantasy with huge himbo monsters, then try out The Varcross Key. Either way, you probably won't be disappointed. Unless you're wanting ABO, in which case, boy did you stumble upon the wrong damn author. So to check out who I am and what I write, go to theliteratebeast.com. Links, of course, are below in the description. So let's get on with some of this news, a lot of which you've probably heard because I'm always late on everything. So this first controversy is less of me shit-talking the author and more of me shit-talking her publisher's questionable marketing strategies. Have you ever dreamed of buying a book 5 times from 5 different retailers for 5 different bonus chapters? Well, Sarah J. Maas has you covered. This author is widely known for a few things, actually. Overly written fantasy romance, huge fae wingspans, and oh yeah, bonus chapters that may or may not be included in your particular copy. In ACOTAR, there were 3 of these so-called bonus chapters, and apparently it did so well that Bloomsbury Publishing was like, gotta have me some of that. So now, instead of 3 bonus chapters in the newest book, you get 5. And those chapters are different depending on which retailer you buy from. You see where this is going, right? While this may seem harmless because it doesn't really have much of an effect on the story, I've seen something like this happen before. I can't quite put my finger on what that was. Do you guys remember being told that certain purchases were harmless and wouldn't affect the products in any meaningful way? Don't worry, it's just a thing we're trying. That ended up being a bunch of bullshit, and now we have nothing but live service games, season passes, unfinished products disguised as DLCs as far as the eye can see. No one listened when people pointed out how slippery the slope actually was, and nearly a decade later, the entire industry has become a soulless, shit-dumping mess that people mindlessly consume because what else is there? Okay, so things are starting to change, but I'm not a gaming channel. We're here to talk about books. So this is not a trend I want to see in publishing. And the social media septic tank noticed TikTok is already treating books as more of a consumerist personality trait than people who actually enjoy reading stories. So it only makes sense that these publishing houses would try to capitalize on this growing trend, a trend that needs to die now. So my question to the readers is this: do you want to buy like half a book now and then subscribe to the book to be able to be drip-fed content so that the publishers can milk this story's udders until they're dead and dried out? Or do you want to buy a book and read and finish when you damn well please? Because this could be a trend going forward if you continue making this practice a success. Now, there are authors out there who post bonus chapters to their website for free. One example would be Rebecca Yarros, who published the bonus chapters to her book, Fourth Wing. No, not going to get into it. Anyways, but I have a feeling that Her publishers are now circling like vultures over to, to pick at this still warm carcass of retail-dependent special edition chapters that SJM's publishers did a while back. So keep in mind, while it's easy to blame the author for being like greedy because their names are the ones that are front and center on the book cover, the snakes who actually call the shots are in the small print inside, okay? A publishing company's MO is to make money. As much money as they possibly can. That's capitalism. That's business. Yeah, it's where art goes to die, but it's also vital for the success of potential future bestsellers. If publishers don't make any money, they fail, and no aspiring author gets their chance. So love it or hate it, it's a business. This is why I think self-publishing will likely take the wheel in the future. If publishing companies take these best-selling books down this dark path, indie publishers will likely be there to pull the readers back into the light. Now, I haven't written bonus chapters for my books, but if I do go down that route, I'll put them on my website for free. I'm not going to mess around with special editions and retail-specific content. It's scummy. Okay, let's be real here. I'm not successful enough for this to actually work. Would I change my opinion if I was offered obscene amounts of money from a publisher to do this? Well, do I look like an idiot? I'm taking the damn money. Do I think it's a terrible path to take? Again, yes. It doesn't matter how creative you are, you're gonna sell out to keep a roof over your head no matter what. Ah, the duality of man. So, on to the next shit show that's been dominating TwitX for a couple weeks now. It's almost fall, and you know what that means. Every writer on every social media outlet is posting about how much they can't wait to attempt NaNoWriMo. And for those of you that are not aware or don't know, NaNoWriMo stands for National Novel Writing Month. And it's been happening every November since 1999. During this month, participants scramble to finish the rough draft of a novel by December 1st, and it's organized by the NaNoWriMo nonprofit. However, they found themselves in a bit of hot water recently when they asserted, and I quote, "Categorical condemnation of artificial intelligence has classist and ableist undertones." Knowing how well-regarded and popular AI has been in the creative space lately, this went down about as well as you might have expected. Now we're left to wonder if the organization will still support actual novelists. You know, the ones that spend an entire month battling imposter syndrome, blank pages, and, in the US, Thanksgiving food comas to complete their first draft. Or if they will now support novelists who give a bunch of prompts to a chat box for an AI-generated story, because ain't nobody got time to write actual prose nowadays. If TikTok has taught me anything, stories are all about cliches, popular tropes, and of course the spice level. Just throw all that shit into an AI prompt and boom, you, who may have no skill or writing talent whatsoever, can now write and publish your very own Light Lark quality book. You are a writer, and anyone that states otherwise is ableist and classist. So are we done with this yet? You see what happens when you affirm everything? People take advantage of common sense empathy and kindness and twist it to bolster their own less than righteous agendas. And if you speak out against any of this shit in any way, okay, you end up as a phobic or an ist. Well, now it's gotten so bad that if you don't support AI, you're a bigot. Congratulations. This is where we are now. Moving on. So now, this is relatively old news, but it's kind of news to me and it's still pretty juicy. In 2024, it always seems like terrible people somehow repeatedly escape consequences for their shitty actions. Unfortunately, when an awful person becomes too popular or rich, it doesn't really matter what they do. They're gonna live large and laugh while doing it. However, every now and then these shit stains on society kill their success before it's even happened. Such is the case with this shining model for authors to aspire to, let's see if I get this name right, Kate Corain. So if you haven't heard, this wonderful woman wrote a book that was picked up by Penguin Publishing House. She managed to write an actual sci-fi that got noticed by Senpai Publishing. It must have been quite original and something that has been missing from bookshelves that only this book could fill. Never mind. Anyways, Still not content with being one of the very few writers literally handed potential success by a company with actual money behind it, she decided it wasn't enough. But she made the mistake of showing her hand before the deal was actually struck. As with most of these types of people, more is never enough. They want more and more. And they want to not only pull the ladder up behind them, they want to set that motherfucker on fire. And that's what Kate did. So she didn't want her diverse cast of token characters overshadowed by these other books with characters of similar types, only the authors of these books were themselves diverse, okay? You see where this is going? So, like a real-life Mean Girl plot, this author slithered into popular social circles, and as with most of the literary villains nowadays, she started in fanfiction. Reylo fanfiction, to be precise. Because, of course, she did. It could have been worse, though, okay? She could have easily been a part of these groups making fanfic of actual, real famous people, and she could have made that fanfiction into one of the most successful, worst books imaginable. Let's just face it, most people are trash. So Kate decided she'd leave ARC reviews on her competitors' books using different accounts on Goodreads. Because this is what very mentally stable people do with their free time. Not only were these authors her competition, they were also not white. And Kate herself is very, very white. If there's one thing the book community loves more than normal drama, it's racial drama. And of course, Reads with Rachel was all over this mess when the gritty details came to light. So if you want to know the full story, she actually put the work in and created a two-parter series on YouTube with all the dirt on this, as well as a review of the book itself. This woman is a literal queen for putting herself through that. I'll just say that right now. Moral of the story, if there is one, is don't make fake accounts on Goodreads to tank the reviews of your competition. Do that after you get your book published, you idiot. Seriously though, don't do this shit. Goodreads is already a garbage dump, and take the reviews that you read there with a grain of salt. Retail sites like Amazon have verified reviews from people who've actually read the stories. And so I'd go off of those for, if you want like actual information on books that people have actually read. Goodreads is either a place for venting frustrations or grievances for an author by review bombing, or it's a place reviewers leave links to YouTube videos, or they write 10,000 word essays with pretty pictures and emojis and flashy GIFs on why a book sucked in order to climb up whatever relevant social ladder there is for the likes and the dopamine hit. And for the final bit of news, it seems Brandon Sanderson has announced the 5th book of his Stormlight Archive series, which will be released on December 6th. This is actually great news for all the SA enjoyers out there. Not that kind.
Little nasty!
For me, though, I was pretty much done after Rhythm of War. I don't need another overwritten 13-page account of what's going on in this world. I've actually read enough, and if I could give this series an overall average rating, it would be just that, an average rating, 3 stars. In my opinion, and I'm waiting for all the Sanderson stands out there to show up with their torches, Rhythm of War tied with The Way of Kings as being the best in the series, while Oathbringer almost made me quit reading. That book, if I could rant on it, was a slog to get through, and Dalinar Kholin is probably the worst, most uninteresting character in the entire series, and he wrote an entire fucking book about him. The whole book should just die in a fire. Okay, bad choice of words. If you know, you know. Anyways, that's it for me today. The tea has been spilled. My shitty opinions are now live for the world to see and comment on. So if you have a shitty opinion of your own that you'd like to share with me, leave it in the comments below. Engage with me. I need it. If you like this video, hit the like and subscribe and ring the bell to get notifications. You all know the damn drill by now. I'll see you next time.